Hurricane Katrina. One storm, but over 1.25 million families displaced or evacuated. One storm, but 80% of New Orleans underwater. However, even a disaster like Katrina teaches us many lessons, and perhaps the most important is the need to be prepared. The destruction of Katrina disrupted basic utilities, destroyed countless buildings, and displaced over 1 million people. For most of these people, the focus was on caring for their families, finding housing, and getting back to work. Unfortunately, the people who found it most difficult to accomplish these goals were people who did not have an account with either a bank or a credit union. Since these people no longer had a regular address, their paycheck, Social Security pension, and other sources of income remained undelivered. In addition, they had no checking or savings accounts from which they could draw cash. In fact, about 2/3 of all Houston Astrodome evacuees did not have a bank account.
And my family and I decided to evacuate the Saturday before. I had just gotten my paycheck from my employer, a few $100 to pay for the hotel room and everything that we were going to need. And assuming that we were just going to be there for 2 or 3 days at the most, I thought I had enough. And realizing on Tuesday morning after the storm came that it was going to be more than 3 or 4 days that we would be there. Luckily, I had the kind of employer who they were willing to pay us, but I mean, we don't have an address for them to send a check. We don't have a bank account for them to do direct deposit. So it puts you in a bind because you don't have any money. You don't have what you need to survive for this, period of time.
Immediately after Hurricane Katrina, it became obvious that serving the needs of the community and getting money into people's hands was of primary importance. As a result of that, the banks, in conjunction with the Louisiana Banking Association, got together and decided that each bank would open a branch on either side of the river. The city of New Orleans is divided by the Mississippi River, and so that river really acts as a boundary here in the city. So it was important to have branches on either side. Now, not all banks could actually open up branches either due to physical damage or personnel issues, and so the decision was made to share branches actually. So various banks would occupy any one branch for another bank if they needed to be able to better serve their customers and the people of the region. The bank that opened the branch was responsible for going out and securing generator power and any other equipment that was necessary. It was really a time that was focused on community and trying to help your neighbor and trying to really do the right thing, and the banks pulled together to make sure that we did that.
My family evacuated to Houston because we had family there, and fortunately for me, we also had branches in the Houston area. I reached out to see what I could do to go to work and help, because I knew that, the volume was going to be pretty heavy. So the bank opened up a temporary site at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Many of the residents were being evacuated there that didn't have anywhere else to go. So we were able to service our customers, also to open up accounts for new customers or some customers that never thought about having an account as well, so that they would have the convenience of having funds deposited to their account.
Disasters like Katrina affect everyone, but the people that are most affected, that face the biggest disruptions to their lives, are those without access to money. And this often means people without a bank account. It's currently estimated that almost 1 in every 9 U.S. families has no bank account. That's close to 6.5 million families who are at greater risk in case of an emergency. And many of the people who do not have a bank or credit union account rely on check cashing businesses. Why? These businesses are usually close by, have longer hours than most banks, and offer convenient services such as utility payments, money orders, and the sales of stamps and envelopes. However, in an emergency such as Katrina, people with a banking relationship were still able to gain access to their money and cash checks. Unfortunately, many people who depended on check cashing businesses found them washed away or closed. But having a bank account makes good sense even if an emergency never occurs. Why? That's an easy question to answer. It's safe, it's convenient, and it can cost less than most other means if you manage your account well. Of course, it's easy to say all of this, but it's another thing to prove it. So let's take a look at a typical person without a bank account. Natisha Williams is a single mom with 2 small children, Karen and Anthony. Natisha works at a local store and receives a weekly paycheck. Since Natisha does not have a bank account, she cashes her weekly paycheck at a local check cashing business. However, in order to cash these checks, Natisha must pay $35 a month. In addition, she must walk 4 blocks each time she needs to cash a check, and she runs the risk of being robbed and losing the cash that she's carrying. After talking with a friend, Natisha decided to open a checking account at a local bank.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
How do you do? My name is Mac Thomas. May I help you?
Yes, I want to open an account.
Checking, savings?
Oh, that's the thing. I'm not really sure what would be best.
Okay, you know, there are lots of options. Do you have a moment?
Yes.
If you'll step into my office, I'd be happy to explain them to you.
Great.
Thank you.
After discussing the various options, Natisha decided to open a free checking account that had no minimum balance. Natisha was fortunate that the first bank she went into had such an account. But remember, different banks charge different fees and offer different services. Therefore, it's a good idea to shop around before selecting a bank.
I got smart after the first few weeks. I stayed in Baton Rouge for a short period of time, and I moved on to Florida. And when I got to Florida, one of the very first things I did was find a bank. So I did a little research, and I chose a local bank with a really good reputation in Florida. I mean, literally, I opened my account, I gave the information to the Red Cross, to FEMA, whatever I needed. If they said it would be there on a particular day, it was in my account. I was able to pay my rent when I got my place. I was able to pay my bills. I was able to do everything that I needed to do, and that stress was lifted off of me. And it enabled me to move forward, to get my life settled once again for both myself and my children.
Now that Natisha has a bank account, let's compare her present to her previous situation. First of all, is it cheaper to have a bank account? The checking account is free, whereas Natisha was paying $35 a month using the check cashing store. Is it safe? Since she no longer has to carry around as much cash that she could lose, the bank account is safer. And is it more convenient? Now, instead of having to walk 4 blocks to cash each of her checks, Natisha's paychecks are automatically deposited into her checking account. So yes, the bank account is convenient. But having a bank account also means you must be responsible for it.
Okay, your total is $31.42, please.
It's up to you to keep track of how much money you put in and take out of your checking account. Every time you write a check, you should enter the amount into your checkbook. You should then subtract this amount from the remaining money in your checking account, which is called the balance. At no time should you ever let the balance fall below 0. If you do, your check will bounce and you will have to pay fees to cover the bounced check. Every month, your bank or credit union will send you a monthly statement. This statement lists all of the checks you've written during the last month, the money you've deposited into your account, and the final balance. You should carefully go over this statement and make sure that it agrees with your own records. A moment ago, I mentioned that Natisha's paychecks are automatically deposited into her checking account. And you may have wondered, what does that mean? Perhaps we should back up a bit. The vast majority of banking today is done with electronic payments. This means that no cash, check, or any other form of paper needs to be sent back and forth. Instead, electronic payments use computers to transfer money between banks, individuals, and businesses in a matter of seconds. These payments are fully secure and absolutely safe. And the best part is, they require very little effort or involvement on our part. When Natisha set up her checking account, the teller told her how she could have her paycheck automatically deposited into her account. All she needed to do was give her approval and banking information to her employer. Now her paychecks are automatically deposited into her account. Natisha no longer needs to personally cash each check. The money is simply there for her use. There are actually many different types of electronic payments. As we've just seen, Natisha has her weekly paycheck automatically deposited. But with electronic payments, you can have Social Security benefits, private pension benefits, and certain other payments automatically deposited as well. Electronic payments also allow you to use ATM machines to gain quick access to cash from almost anywhere. And Natisha discovered two more convenient aspects of having a bank account: automatic bill payment and online banking. With automatic bill payment, the amount of Natisha's monthly utility and phone bills are now deducted automatically from her checking account every month. She no longer has to individually pay each bill. Of course, this is an optional service, and you can choose to have none, any, or all of your regular bills automatically paid. These include utility, phone, mortgage, insurance, and any other bills you pay on a regular basis. To sign up for automatic bill payment, you just need to contact the appropriate business, for example, the water company, and tell them you would like to have your bills paid automatically. They will then sign you up for this service and tell you what further steps you need to take. Naturally, you'll still receive your regular monthly statements, but you no longer have to worry about sending in the money before the due date. It will be paid automatically. And you can stop any automatic bill payment at any time. But remember, when you do receive your utility and other bill statements, you'll still need to deduct this amount from your own bank records. Otherwise, you might run the risk of overdrawing your account, which can cost you extra money.
I could not imagine life without my bank account. Why? Because, first of all, with gas prices being so high, I'm not running all over the city trying to pay my electric bill or my telephone bill or anything. I can go to my computer, I can put in my checking account information, and bam, my bill is paid. I've saved gas, I've saved time.
Another very convenient aspect of having a bank account is online banking. After a few months of manually balancing her account, Natisha learned that she could keep track of her finances from anywhere at any time by using online banking. She immediately signed up for this free service. Now, with online banking, Natisha can log into her bank's website from the convenience of her own home or from any computer that has internet access. She can also use the service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Once she is logged into the site, Natisha can check her current balance, see when her paychecks were deposited, and learn when her bills were automatically paid or are scheduled to be paid. Because her current balance will also be shown, Natisha can know exactly how much money remains in her account at any time. But that's not all. With online banking, Natisha can also pay bills directly to anyone she wants. In fact, online banking allows Natisha to perform any task that she would normally have to do at the bank itself. She can open a new account, transfer money between accounts, reorder checks, and on and on. Online banking is free, fast, easy, and convenient. Well, as you've seen, getting a bank account was definitely a good step for Natisha. By using services that her bank offered, such as paycheck direct deposit, automatic bill payment, and online banking, Natisha was able to save both time and money. Of course, you can use any or all of these banking features that you want. The choice is entirely up to you. But remember to shop around for the banking services that best fit your needs. I'm sure that opening a bank account would be a good step for you, just as it was for Natisha. Why? I think you already know the answer. Having a bank account is safe, convenient, and usually costs less than not having an account. But a bank account also makes a lot of sense for another important reason. It helps establish your financial security. How? First of all, it helps you keep track of your money and makes it easier to save a little bit each month. In addition, when you open a bank or credit union account, you are establishing a relationship with a financial institution. This is an important relationship, a relationship that may be essential in the event of an emergency. And this relationship can help you if you ever need a loan. Most of us will probably never experience a situation as devastating as Hurricane Katrina. However, the storm did bring home a very important point. People with bank accounts fared better than those without. But even in normal circumstances, people with bank accounts benefit from them in many ways. Since bank accounts allow you to have online banking, checks automatically deposited, and bills automatically paid, they're convenient. And because you don't have to have large amounts of cash on your person or in your home, they provide safety and security for your money. But perhaps the strongest reason to have a bank account, it can actually save you money in the long run. So having a bank account definitely makes good sense. Why not go into one of your local banks today and ask about opening an account?